Your Excellency, it is a great honor and a pleasure having you with us. Welcome to Huffington Post.
Thank you, Emmy. It's always so nice to be with you. Thank you for the invitation.
It's been almost 2 years since you undertook duty as an ambassador in Athens. Do you feel very much at home in Greece?
I do. Greece was always very familiar with me. My parents grew up here. My mother and father are from the same small village in the mountains from the Nafpaktos region. My sisters and I would spend summers here. This is how I got to spend time with my grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins amongst the happiest summers of my life. So not only is Greece familiar with me, but always has a special place in my heart.
And your wife is Greek too.
She's from, her parents are from neighboring villages.
I know that she speaks Greek very well.
Τα ελληνικά της είναι καλύτερα από τα δικά μου.
We address you in English and you respond in Greek, just like now. I think that you're a patriot.
Everybody. I think everyone in the United States understands that we owe so much to the Greeks. Civilization, democracy, architecture, art, theater, mathematics, medicine. The world owes a debt of gratitude to the Greeks. So I'm one of many that appreciate everything that Greece represents. I think in the United States, we have an appreciation from what emanated from Greece. When my country stood up a government 248 years ago, it was based on the principles and the values that were born right here in ancient Athens, those of democracy. For the first time, there was a sense of self-determination of how a people should be governed. And that emanated in Greece. Not far from here is Academia, where Plato taught Aristotle. And as I was the first in my family to go to college, education is everything to my family. And, those are concepts that were very Hellenic, to have sound mind and sound body. So
it's the DNA.
It is.
But you do miss Greece. When you're in the States, you miss Greece and the way of life.
I was in the Oval Office with President Biden and Prime Minister Mitsotakis, and President Biden asked how I liked living in Greece, and the Prime Minister answered for me. Το χαμόγελο δεν έχει φύγει από το πρόσωπό του από τη μέρα που ήρθε. The Prime Minister's right. It is a beautiful country filled with very warm and hospitable people.
You have shared lately your solid belief that the US-Greek relations are stronger than ever now. In which fields is this taking place?
In every field. I think that's a line that diplomats use often. In this case, it's actually true and very true. Over 3 US presidents and 4 Greek prime ministers, the relationship has continued to grow to an ever higher level, and it will continue to grow. So specifically to answer your question, educational exchanges. So there are more Greek students studying in the US and more US students coming to Greece. Cultural exchanges, tourism is at a record level. Foreign direct investment is at a record level as companies like Pfizer and Chubb and AWS, Google, Microsoft are all invested heavily in Greece and the Greek people and the Greek economy. Our NATO ties, our military ties are very strong. in that the US supports Greece and Greece supports the United States. That both countries and both militaries act with a sense of deterrence and act with values and reliability to each other. Greece is not only a pillar of stability in this region, it is the essential ally and of high geostrategic importance.
What about tourism? Technology is another sector. What about shipping?
Oh, I don't think the U.S. can teach the Greece about shipping. That is one area that Greece should be very proud of. 60% of the European fleet is Greek-owned. About 22% of the global fleet is Greek-owned. 90% of the global economy travels on ships. So for a country of 10.5 million to dominate a global industry is quite a feat. It's 8% of the Greek economy, but it is essential for global trade.
Greece has taken a very clear stance towards the war in Ukraine and is supporting the US multinational force to prevent attacks against commercial ships in the Red Sea?
Well, let me start with the second half of your question. This is about the free navigation of the seas. That's a principle that should be inviolate. That trade and ships should be able to travel throughout the globe to bring medicines and food and supplies everywhere in the world and do so without fear of being sunk. So it's about the free navigation of the sea. So of course Greece and any logical person would support that a ship and its crew should be able to carry goods and medicines and foods to places. We already have a global food scarcity problem. We have a global inflation problem. So to exacerbate that with acts of terrorism is just wrong, and I think people understand that. With regards to Ukraine, this is a moral absolute. Can you believe that in this day and age, a country would choose to attempt to change a nation's borders by force? By force. This is not a democratic principle. For Russia to destroy over 200 Ukrainian Orthodox churches, to bomb civilian targets, children's hospitals, to use the barbaric means of rape as a military tool to try to occupy a nation of 42 million people is just wrong. So of course Greece is going to join Europe and the United States and the Western world to stand up for democratic principles.
This could raise security issues for our country?
No. This war has been raging for over 2 years. And, it's being done in the name of democracy. It's being done in the name that you do not change a nation's boundary by force. To not engage in this at this point in time would invite any other autocrat in the world to do the same thing. And I don't think that's something that we want to invite, ever. Now, it has been contained in Ukraine. Unfortunately, the only people that are dying for the principles of democracy are Ukrainians. But it has been contained within Ukraine. And I think President Biden and the alliance has done a good time to keep it in Ukraine. Article 5, any attack on a NATO country is an attack on all 32 NATO countries. And I think Mr. Putin has been very irresponsible. Thus far, he hasn't been that irresponsible because it would invite a global response that would be at a much higher and more vigorous level than what it is today. So I don't think it puts Greece or any other country in the alliance in danger. But it goes back to my original premise. We must support Ukraine. To not support Ukraine and let Russia take over Ukraine would be a huge blow to democracy in the world and would invite other autocrats to engage in the same irresponsible, undemocratic, and illegal behavior.
...2024 is an election year in United States and in Europe. Could the outcome of these elections affect our relations? I mean, United States and Greece.
No. I mean, the State Department doesn't involve itself in elections, but we have, as I said at the outset, we have had 4 successive prime ministers and 3 successive presidents from both parties, where the relationship has only grown and deepened and become stronger. So when I say that the best years of Greece are yet to come, as its economy is doing well and it's showing a lot of leadership in the region and it's a pillar of stability, I believe that. And the United States is a steadfast friend of Greece.
What will you miss more when living in Greece and go back to New York, to the States?
I'm going to miss the warmth, the philoxenia that I was shown
This is
here.
very Greek and unique thing.
The food and the weather I'll also miss, but I will miss the people
And
the
the
most.
hospitality.
It's you know, it reminds me of something that Kazantzakis said about the porta του σπιτιού είναι πάντοτε ανοιχτή για σένα.
Exactly.
I have made a lot of new friends and deepened the relationships of existing friends. And, you know, I have 4 friends from the village in Platanos that I met 45 years ago on the soccer field. Kostas Exakos, Dimitris Subasakos, Nikos Kales, Kostas Xidis. To this day, they're 4 of my closest friends 45 years ago, and they will be my closest friends to the day I die. So when you have a friend in Greece, it's a friend forever.
Where are you going to spend Easter? You're an Orthodox.
I am, and we haven't made the final decision, but Olga and I would like to take the family to celebrate in Tinos.
Tinos? Yeah. Wow. Amazing island. It's your first time there? It's going to be your first time?
It's going to be my first time.
What made you accept coming to Athens as an ambassador?
The President of the United States called and said, I need you to go to Athens.
Okay, that sounds like an order.
Well, when the President of the United States puts forth a request, the only thing you say is, yes, sir. Because this is not only about serving your country, which is very important. And as the child of 2 immigrants, I'm very indebted to the opportunities that the United States gave my family. The wonderful thing about growing up in the United States of America is it offered opportunities and acceptance. My mother and father left a small village, no running water, no electricity, and an outhouse. They couldn't speak the language. They had no money, but they heard Emma Lazarus's calling, and they came to the United States, and they were accepted, and they were allowed to rebuild their lives. They built businesses, they built a family, we got an education. I was able to build a business. I was able to raise my own family. And now I have an opportunity to serve my country here. So I have an obligation and responsibility to give back. And the fact that I'm able to do the work of bringing the United States and Greece closer together is the honor of a lifetime.
What line of business have you been in the States?
I'm in the hotel business, or I was in the hotel business, and one day I'll return to it.
All my friends asked me, we need the secret. The ambassador lost all these kilos. What did he do?
So I went to a Greek sports physiologist that did a lot of blood work and analysis, and my metabolism was not working properly. So he gave me a diet that's nutrient dense, non-processed foods, eating food that God gave us, and do a lot of walking But, you know, I did this over 18 months. So it wasn't done overnight.
I can imagine.
It's a change of lifestyle. So the food in Greece tends to be very, very good. Non-GMO, a lot
and
of
with a lot of calories. The olive oil, for sure.
They're healthy calories.
Yeah.
Because I go to the Leki every week, and we buy food that God gave us, and I'm active. I walk a lot, and it's been a very good experience for my health.
Your Excellency, thank you so much. It was a great pleasure and an honor for us having this interview, this discussion with you.
Emmy, it was a great honor for me. Thank you so much for your invitation.
And I wish for Pascha, for Easter.
Καλό Pascha, peace on earth. Peace on earth.
Thank you so much. Καλό Pascha.
Ευχαριστώ. Επίσης.